let's say, 10 or 20 families moved into Cicero, which is a town of 70,000?
They'd get killed.
This documentary illustrates the privilege to be ignorant. Keep on watching, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
This clip is from a 1966 CBS documentary called Black Power, White Backlash, hosted by Mike Wallace. This part is in the town of Cicero, Illinois, a working-class suburb outside of Chicago. At the time, not a single black family lived there. 15,000 black people worked in Cicero's factories every day. But when the sun went down, every one of them had to leave. CBS sent a camera crew into the neighborhood and asked residents how they felt about black families moving in. This is what they said.
How would you feel, truly, if a colored family were to move in over there with the washers hanging on the line?
If they leave me alone, I leave them alone. I'd be afraid to go out at night.
Afraid to go out at night?
What kind of colored people living around here?
You mean you think they're violent people?
Well, some of them are. And there are some good ones, too. I really couldn't trust any of them.
There are many good colors, but there's the ones that are going to march I don't like and I can't stand. I got no use for.
And when your church tells you human rights, and you pay no attention to your church?
I pay attention to my church when they say about human rights. But what the marchers want, they don't want rights. They say they want peaceful coexistence. How can they have peaceful coexistence when there's all this trouble?
Who makes the trouble?
They do, by marching. There's got to be a simpler way.
If, let's say, 10 or 20 families moved into Cicero, which is a town of 70,000.
They'd get killed.
Cicero is an industrial town. It doesn't mind that Negroes work in the factories there. 15,000 of them do, and they trade at Cicero banks and supermarkets. But not a single Negro family sleeps in Cicero. Not one spends the night. I asked some workers why.
Because they don't know the Negro, that's why.
How do you mean?
Well, they think their value of their poverty goes down, and the majority of them feel that we're dirty.
What about some of those criticisms, that the Negro is dirty, that the Negro is more violent, therefore the Negro doesn't make as good a neighbor?
Well, that's because they have never given the Negro the chance. They don't know it, the Negro, I told you. The Negro is not dirty.
Well, I don't think they could even afford to live in our area, most of them, what I see marching.
What about the people who work right here at Western Electric?
Well, there's a lot of good ones here that work here, but still, we don't want to mix with them to live with them.
Why? You'll work with them?
But I don't want to live with them.
Why?
Because I moved out of a neighborhood that was colored. I had to move. Everybody that lives with the colored has to move.
Why?
Because you're not safe walking the streets at night. You cannot leave the house.
Do you understand what oppression is? Everything that these bigots and these hateful people are saying in this documentary is because they have the privilege to be ignorant. They have the privilege to believe these stereotypes about black people, which goes on today. All right. They're saying that they're scared of being around black people at night. All right. They're saying that the black people are the ones who are violent, but they're the ones talking about if black people move into their neighborhood that they'll get killed. Think about it like this right here. Black people have to march. Why? Because violence is bestowed upon them. Okay. Crime is higher in black neighborhoods. Why? Because there are catalysts that are bestowed in the black neighborhood to create crime, like drugs. Drugs create dependency, poverty, oppression, the lack of jobs, and the lack of money. All right. These are the reasons that there probably will be higher crime in black neighborhoods versus in other neighborhoods, because black people don't get the same opportunities, which has a ripple effect. This is why you have projects in black neighborhoods. But all of these negative stereotypes that are being mentioned in this documentary are stereotypes because they have the privilege to ignore. They have the privilege to be ignorant. So think about that next time that you want to give your opinion about the blacks.